Hello everyone. In this class, we will learn about smart objects and those smart objects we are calling it as things when we are dealing with Internet of Things. So, under this smart object topic, we will see some things related to sensors, actuators, microelectronic electromechanical system that is MEMS. We will see a short discussion about smart objects, our sensor network, mainly wireless sensor network. So before telling you about in depth of sensors, I would like you to imagine an IoT enabled connected vehicle. That vehicle or car has an impressive ecosystem of sensors that provide an immense amount of data that can be intelligently consumed by a variety of systems and services. And mainly this IoT enabled or this sensor enabled car is filled with various type of sensors. For an example, they are having temperature sensor, they are having location sensor, or we are calling it as a GPS also. They are having pressure sensor, they are having velocity sensors. Okay. So such sensors, whatever they are having, they are connected with each other. Okay. And they are fundamental building block for that car. Or if I am treating that one as an IoT network, then they are fundamental building block of that IoT network. In fact, in IoT network, the fundamental elements found in smart object and they are known as things. The smart object are any physical object that contain embedded technology to sense or to interact with the environment in a meaningful way. So, if I talk in detail about sensors, so as the name says, it sense. More specifically, a sensor measures some physical quantity and convert that measurement reading into a digital representation. That digital representation is typically passed to another device for transmission into useful data that can be consumed by some intelligent devices or in some case by humans also. And there are a number of ways to group or cluster sensors into different categories. And the number of ways you can see on your screens are active and passive, invasive, non-invasive, contact or non-contact, absolute or relative. So we can categorize sensors in these four categories mainly. Apart from these four categories, there are few more categories, which means either a sensor can be depending upon area of application or how sensor measures data or what sensor is measuring. Okay, so we will talk about all those things one by one. So first, let's discuss about active and passive sensors. So sensors can be categorized based on whether they produce an energy output and typically required an external power supply. Then in this case, they are known as active sensors. And if they simply receive energy and typically not required any external power supply, then they are passive sensors. In the same way, invasive sensors are those sensors which is a part of environment where it is measuring things. And if it is not a part of environment, then it is known as non-invasive sensors. The next category, which is contact or no contact, it can be understood by the name also, that whether they require any physical contact with what they are measuring, or they don't require any physical contact with what they are measuring. Okay. If they require physical contact, that means they are contact sensor. If they don't require any physical contact, that means they are no contact sensor. The fourth category is absolute or relative. So basically, sensors can be categorized based on whether they measure on an absolute scale, that is known as absolute sensor, or based on difference with a fixed or variable reference. Okay, then they are known as relative sensors. In addition to these groups, sensors can be categorized based on the specific industry or area where they are being used. Also, sensors can be categorized based on the physical mechanism used to measure sensors input. For an example, thermoelectric, thermochemical, piezoresistive, optic, electric, fluid mechanic, photoelastic. One more way where sensor can be categorized based on their application or what physical variable they are measuring. The most useful classification scheme for the pragmatic application of sensor is an IoT network. Based on what physical phenomena a sensor is measuring. So sensors can be categorized into different sensor types. So now we will see all the sensor types, their description, and some examples of that type. So the first sensor type is position sensor. A position sensor measures the position of an object, and it can be in absolute term also and relative term also. Example of this sensors we can say as a potentiometer, inclinometer, and proximity sensors. Next, the category of sensors is occupancy and motion sensor. So basically occupancy sensors detect the presence of people and animals in a surveillance area, and on the other hand motion sensors detect movement of people and object, for an example radar and electric eye. The next sensor category is velocity and acceleration sensors. So basically velocity sensors may be linear or angular, indicating how fast an object moves along a straight line or how fast it rotates, while acceleration sensor measures the change in velocity. For an example, accelerometer and gyroscope. The next sensor type is force sensor. So force sensors detect whether a physical force is applied and whether the magnitude of force beyond a threshold level or not. The example of this type is force gauge and touch sensors, etc. The next sensor type is pressure sensor. So they are related to a force sensors measuring force applied by liquid or gases. And for an example, barometer or piezometers are there. The next sensor type is flow, and a flow sensor detect the rate of fluid flow. The example of these sensors are anemometer, mass flow meter or mass flow sensor, and water meter. The next sensor type is acoustic, and acoustic sensors measures sound level and convert that information into digital or analog data signal. So we are using those sensors now also, that is your microphone. Other examples are geophone and hydrophone. The next category is humidity. So humidity sensors detect humidity in the air or a mass. So humidity level can be measured in a various way, that is absolute humidity, relative humidity or mass ratio and other based on the other parameters. So basically the sensors we are saying those as gyrometer or hygrometer, soil moisture sensors, etc. The next category is light. So light sensors detect the presence of light, and examples are infrared sensor, photo detectors, and flame detector. So these are used to detect whether fire is there or not in an emergency condition. The next sensor is radiation. So radiation sensors mainly detect the radiation in an environment, and radiation can be sensed by ionization detection. So for an example, Geyser Mueller counter is one of the famous sensors in radiation sensor. The next category is temperature sensor. So temperature sensor measures the amount of heat or cold that is present in a system. And for an example, we can say thermometer, calorimeter, temperature gauge. And they can be broadly categorized into two types, basically contact or no contact sensors, temperature sensors. So contact temperature sensors need to be physically contacted with the object being sensed, and no contact sensors do not need physical contact as they measure through conversion or through radiation. So next category is chemical. So basically chemical sensors measure the constraint of chemical in a system. When subjected to a mixture of chemical or chemicals, chemical sensors are typically selective for a target type. Okay. So for an example, a CO2 sensor sense only carbon dioxide. It will not sense nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. Or if I say some specific liquid sensor also, that will sense only that specific liquid instead of sensing other liquids. The next sensor category is biosensors, and biosensors detect various biological elements such as organisms, tissues, cell, enzymes, antibodies, and nucleic acid. So examples are blood glucose biosensors, pulse proximity biosensors, DNA hybridization biosensors, and others. So basically, if I talk about all those sensors, whatever we have seen, all those categories, so sensors come in all shape and size and can measure all type of physical condition. One of the example is shown in this slide, that is biodegradable sensor developed by NDSU. NDSU stand for North Dakota State University, and this sensor is applicable in smart farming. So basically real time monitoring or measurement of soil quality, pH level, toxicity, moisture level. These are the things which are monitored by this sensor and help in irrigation planning. Not only this type of sensors, IoT by extension through a networked sensor have been named among a small number of emerging revolutionary technology that will change the global economy and shape of the future. The outstanding volume of sensors in a large part due to their smaller size and their smaller form factor and decreasing cost are also will also play its role in developing the shape of future. So these factors make possible the economic and technological feasibility of having an increased density of sensors. Perhaps the most significant accelerator for sensor deployment is in mobile phones. More than billion smartphones are sold each year and each one has well over a dozen sensors inside it. So you can see in this figure also that the number of sensors they are continuous continuously growing each year. So in this figure you can see that all the types of sensors whatever required like proximity sensors, accelerometer, gyroscope, microphone, thermometer, touch screen, light sensor, camera, GPS, pressure sensor, moisture sensor, proximity sensors, etc. are already there in your smartphone. So it's fascinating to think that a trillion sensor economy is around the corner, and this figure shows that the explosive year over year increase is there over the past several years and some bold prediction for sensor numbers in the upcoming years. There is a strong belief in the sensor industry that this number will increase to a trillion in the very few years. So, after discussing all the things related to sensors, now we will go to our next topic that is actuators. Actuators are natural complements to sensors. As you can see in this figure, it demonstrates the symmetry and complementary nature of these two types of devices. As discussed in the previous section, sensors are designed to sense and measure practically any measurable variable in the physical world. They convert their measurement or measurements into electrical signals or a digital representation that can be consumed by an intelligent agent. On the other hand, actuators receive some type of control signal that triggers a physical effect, usually some type of motion, force, and so on. So in this figure, comparison of sensors and actuators functionality with humans is there. And most like sensors, actuators also vary greatly in function, size, design, and so on. Some common ways that they can be classified, including Some parameters are basically type of motion sensors or actuators. So actuators under type of motion can be classified based on the type of motion they produce. For an example, they can produce linear motion or rotatory motion or one or two or three axis based motion. Another category we can categorize as power. So actuators can be classified based on their power output, and we can say, for an example, some actuators are high power, low power, or micro power. Also, actuators can be classified based on number of stable state outputs. On the other hand, actuators can be classified based on the specific industry or a vertical or a horizontal type where they are used. In addition, we can also say that actuators can be classified based on their energy type. So basically, if I talk in a broad manner, actuators can be classified as mechanical actuators, electrical actuators, electromechanical actuators, electromagnetic actuators, hydraulic actuators, smart material actuators, or micro nano actuators. The examples under each of these types are listed here in this table. So for an example, mechanical actuators are having levers, screw jacks, electromagnetic actuators having electromechanical actuators having AC motor, DC motors, micro and nano actuators having electrostatic motor or COM drive. After this, one of the most interesting advances in sensor and actuator technology is how they are packed and developed. Micro electromechanical system, in short, we call it as MEMS, MEMS, sometimes simply referred to as micro mechanics, and can integrate and combine electric and mechanical elements such as sensors and actuators on a very small scale. One of the keys to this technology is a microfabrication technique that is similar to what is used for microelectronic integrated circuits. This approach allows mass production at very low cost. The combination of tiny size, low cost, and the ability to mass produce MEMS attract all researchers and industry persons, and huge number of IoT applications are there. MEMS device have already been widely used in variety of different applications and can be found in very familiar in your devices. For an example, inkjet printer use micropump MEMS. A smartphone also uses MEMS technology for things like accelerometer and gyroscope. In fact, automobiles were among the first commercially introduced MEMS into mass market with airbag accelerometers. This figure shows torsional retiring accelerometer, that is TRA, that was developed by Sandia National Laboratory, and this is used as a low voltage alternative to micro engine. So this MEMS based sensor and actuators is only a few hundred micrometer in dimension. A scanning electron microscope is needed to show the level and detailing whatever visible in this figure. Micro scale sensors and actuators are growing in a very fast manner in everyday object. Therefore, it is highly needed for IoT based applications. Due to this reason, it is expected that IoT will trigger significantly in an advanced manner using this MEMS technology, and manufacturing will make them supportive over all industries and other application in a broad commercialized way. So now after discussing micro electromechanical system, we will discuss smart objects. So smart objects are quite simply the building blocks of IoT. They transform everyday object into a network of intelligent objects that are able to learn from or interact with their environment in a meaningful way. This smart object, sometimes we are calling it as smart sensors, smart devices, IoT device, intelligent device, intelligent things, smart things, intelligent node, or intelligent product. The smart object can also be described as a device that has a minimum following requirement, which is shown in this figure. A smart object need to have power source that need to be used to power all the sensors and all the things inside and smart object pairing. The second characteristic which is required is communication device. As you can see in this figure that here a communication device is there. This communication device or this communication unit is responsible for connecting a smart object with other smart objects and the outside world. One more thing which is required is sensors in combination with actuators, and this sensors and actuators are needed in a smart object, and they are capable of interacting with the physical world through sensors and actuators as described in previous sections. Apart from these, we need memory CPU, that is a tiny low cost computer. So a smart object has some type of processing unit for acquiring data, processing and analyzing sensing information received by sensors. A control signal is also required for any actuators for controlling a variety of functions on the smart object, including communication and power system. So after dealing with a smart object, we need to see some trends in smart objects. So basically, the first trend is the size of these smart objects are decreasing day by day. So as discussed in earlier section with reference to MEMS, there is a clear trend of ever decreasing size. Some smart objects are so small that they are not even visible by your naked eyes. This reduced size make smart objects easier to embed in everyday objects. Another trend which we are seeing is a continuous decrease of power consumption. So the different hardware components of a smart object continuously consumes less power. This is especially true for sensors, many of which are completely passive in nature. Some battery powered sensors last 10 or more years without battery replacement. So we are seeing these things nowadays. Another trend is increase of processing power. So processing power are continuously getting more powerful or more smaller. One more trend is there, that is communication. Depending upon communication capabilities, it's not a big deal or it's not a big surprise that wireless speed are continuously increasing, but they are also increasing in range. IoT is driving the development of more and more specialized communication protocols, covering a greater diversity of use case and environments. The last thing, that there is a strong push in industry to develop open standard for IoT communication protocols. In addition, there are more and more open source effort to advance IoT. So these trends in smart object begin to paint a picture of increasingly sophisticated devices that are able to perform increasingly complex tasks with greater efficiency. Now we will discuss some of the terms or advantage and disadvantage and related information related to sensor network. A sensor or actuator network, as the name suggests, is a network of sensors that sense and measures their environment. In addition, actuators that act on the environment. Sensor networks offer highly coordinated sensing and actuation capabilities, and one of the example we can say is our smart homes. So smart homes are a type of sensor network that displays this coordination between distributed sensors and actuators. While such networks can theoretically be continued in a wired or a wireless fashion, the fact that sensor networks are typically found in the real world mean that they need an extreme level of deployment and flexibility. So when we compare wide expansion and wireless expansion of these sensors and actuators and their network, there are certain disadvantage and advantage. So if I talk properly for a wireless based network, sensor network. So for a wireless based sensor network, the main disadvantage is it's less secured in compared to wired network. And typically, because it's the transmission of data will happen through wireless medium, it supports low transmission speed compared to a wired link. Also, we can say that greater level of impact or influence by surrounding environment will be there. So these three are main disadvantage of a wireless sensor network. But apart from these disadvantage, there are certain advantage like greater deployment flexibility will be there. Simply we can scale up and down our sensor network. Implementation cost will be low. Long-term maintenance will be easy. And whenever required, we can introduce new sensor devices or new devices we can add and remove easily. So these are some advantages due to which in most of the areas wireless sensor network are preferred in compared to wired sensor network. So wireless sensor network are made up of wirelessly connected smart objects which are sometimes referred as nodes. So basically nodes we can call in the term of wired connection whenever they are connected wirelessly, that is modes, MOTES. So in this figure you can see some design constraints are there for wireless smart object, and these constraints or limitations are basically limited processing power, limited memory, lossy communication, and limited transmission speed. So such a large number of sensors permit the introduction of hierarchical or hierarchies of smart objects. Such a hierarchy is needed in an organization development also. And in this figure, you can see an example of data aggregation in wireless sensor network, where temperature reading from logical grouping of temperature sensors, these different temperature sensors are aggregated as an average temperature reading at this point. So this is one example of data aggregation in wireless sensor network. And here we came to an end of this lecture of smart objects. So basically in this lecture we have discussed the things related to sensors, actuators, microelectromechanical systems, smart objects, sensor networks, and basically wireless sensor network and its advantage. Thank you.